Hello, everybody. Welcome to week 6 of Western Literature. I'm Dr. Elam again. So, this week we have two readings: Voltaire's Candide, which is rather short work of literature, and Thomas Gray's Elegy written in a country churchyard. So, the two selections that we have really reflect two different kinds of concerns. They may overlap a little bit in their attempt to get away from the almost too self-assured views that human beings can have about life and meaning. So Voltaire's Candide, which really pushes back against an extreme form of optimism, an optimism that is expressed by I think it's if I'm pronouncing his name right, Leibniz, the philosopher who says that this is the best of all possible worlds. So a reductive view of that kind of statement would be, well, if this is the best, I can imagine something better. That's an absurdity, and Voltaire really presses back against that absurdity, and lands in kind of a weird moral no man's land, it seems to me. When I teach Western literature for some of the honors students, rather than using Voltaire, I'll sometimes use Samuel Johnson's Rasselas. It's about the same length as Voltaire's work, except I think that Samuel Johnson is a little more open in considering, a little more serious, let's say, a little more serious in considering some of the problems by we're living in the best of all possible worlds. Samuel Johnson's a Christian, of course, and a thoughtful Christian who doesn't fall into many reductive traps. He's a temperamental person, too. If you read some of his literary criticism, you'll learn that fairly quickly. He's quite a personality. But I think that he offers an even-handed approach to the question of, is this really the best of all possible worlds that we live in? We're not a philosophy class, so we're not going to answer that question in this class. Just pay attention to what Voltaire wants his readers to consider in his narrative. We don't have to like it. We may find it agreeable. We may like it. I find Candide, rather, to be quite entertaining. I think, we're reading it in a translation, of course. But there are parts of it which I think are literarily excellent. They're quite good. I'm just not sure I'm on board with the implicit, pessimistic, almost nihilistic, I may be reading a little much into it there, but definitely a pessimistic view of the world that we live in. I'm not sure I'm on board with that. It is an important work of Western literature, nevertheless. So, pay attention to its literary qualities. Like I said, we don't need to figure out all of the philosophical ins and outs of it for our class. We can save that for the philosophers who do legitimate and valuable work in those areas. Thomas Gray's Elegy written in a country churchyard picks up on the theme about where greatness is, I suppose. I don't want to use terms that are too glib or too overused, but the elegy, it starts at the moment of death, right? It's written in a country churchyard. It's written even at the metaphorical time of death, the evening, at the end of the day. And Gray is challenging the notion, which persists throughout human history, that greatness is achieved in great deeds. Being a great statesman, Cicero might think only great statesmen are worthy of praise, or great warriors are worthy of praise. Thomas Gray comes along and says, perhaps greatness is found in more mundane things. We could find a similar idea expressed in the writings of Horace or Virgil. So they're not new. They're not even a challenge necessarily to the classical era, because we can find those ideas expressed in the classical era. but they do challenge a mindset that looks at greatness as being tied to fame, one's report and widespread reputation. Gray, it is one, I'm a medievalist, right? So most of the literature I study ends at around the year 1500. But Gray's elegy, written in a country churchyard, is literarily, poetically, one of the most excellent works of literature written in the English language. Its poetics, its structures, the sounds of the words that Gray uses, the interlacing effect of his grammar is beautiful. And of course his topic is a worthy topic, namely, where does one find one's value after death? All right, sorry, one of my alarms just went off, reminding me that it's time for class. So, and here we are. So have those items in mind as you go through, those ideas in mind as you go through the readings this week. We're back to our dialogue question. So remember, by the end of Wednesday, pose to me a question about either Voltaire's Candide or Gray's Elegy, and I will answer those in my video response, which I'll post Thursday or Friday. We also have an assignment that appears this week, the literary reflection paper. Remember that your literary analysis paper should be turned in by the end of next week, so you still have a little bit of time. The literary reflection, similarly, I've tried to give you a wider window, so the assignment appears this week, but you have until the end of the session to actually turn in the reflection paper. That would be May 7th. So if you have a reflection ready to go, you can start writing it now and turn it in soon. If you need a little more time to gather your thoughts, you have a couple of weeks to do so, and turn it in by May 7th. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for now, right? Very short overview, less than 10 minutes again. And I will see you later in the week with my answers to your questions. I hope that everybody had a fruitful and uplifting, encouraging, holy week, culminating yesterday, for me as I record this anyway, yesterday with Easter Sunday. As we move forward, be mindful that the Lord is interested in not only those larger matters of our Christian faith, but also how they connect to the seemingly smaller matters of learning in class. All right, folks. Bless you. I'll see you later.